One into an entirely different space. It might be dark, it's up to you to fulfill it. Spark the light. Flight. Yeah, 11 minutes started like that neck, a spark. Flight off in the light inside the dark. When you think about the beast when life began as March, Archangel Uriel just trying to be righteous from the start, yeah. Just think of life and the price and its cost. Each and every day trying to get K on these ice and that I lost. Bitch, I ain't made Sonic, I just make pounds and flights, don't need a laws. Need in the daytime cause I can't fly to the night I get involved, yeah. We revolving in something like a ball with a cosmic spin. Look in the sky, the sun, the moon, and Saturn, make the temple of Solomon. Here y'all go, going and God again, live in a world that is reversed. Since you get trapped in a space, baby, that is a curse. But first, you know I got the keys to your heart. You know I got the keys to your heart. You know I got somebody in your heart. You know I didn't care about your heart. Yeah. Now first, take a look at your face and you never know. Yeah, we all got issues, we might need tissues. Why you taking shit so personal? You be saying shit that I never heard before. I think you need to take a better route, cause all your values all fucked up in a second house. Think you wanna go and use a third world country full of weapons out. But you gotta keep it private just with close ones and build a domestic house. And then we go to the fifth, where you get your creative expression out. But you gotta put the shit to work, jump into the sixth. Tell me what you stress about. Oh baby, it's your relationship, we should check it out in your 7th house. But you always going to the 8th, cause you wanna let shit out when the death is found. In a prison that wanna transform. Scary life, that's a horror portal. Stuck in a 9th house, so a nigga stay fighting, trying to force his morals. Your 10th house, and a might business, 2 decisions, go to war or cordial. Don't be guilty by association in 11th house with lords and mortals. You be putting too much pain in your imagination that you done cast out. Set yourself up for a letdown, being lost in the last house. You know I got the keys to your car. You know I got the keys to your car. You know I left somebody in your house. You know I didn't care about your house. You know I got the keys to your car. You know I got the keys to your house. You know I left somebody in your house. You know I didn't care about your
Don't follow that. Further than that. Did you know it don't go no further than that? Over that. I'm gonna talk about you going on flunked out houses and stuff like that, so you can know a little bit of mind wizardry and stuff like that to bring down to the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension to make things happen in your life. So there's gonna be a big correspondence to your houses, each area of your life, and we're gonna break down. Each house got like 4 other houses that it can use for support, because it be damaged, it got trauma, it got generational curses, got all kind of stuff. Thank you so much for the donation, Andrew Douglas. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. They got all kind of generational curses and stuff like that. So it's up to you to kind of like figure out what's going on in this house. You know what I'm saying? And if it needs support, how to make that house go into another house so it can get like, you know, need some crutches. It might be like mentally ill and things of that nature. So it might need some grounding from grandma and mama and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It all kind of circumstances, all kind of sigils and manifestations and correlations and correspondences that you can create in your life as synchronicities to blend in some event that go in your favor. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about the joining of 2 energies to create another one. So you're supposed to look at everything like an energy. Look at everything like a force field, or it wouldn't be a form in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Once you go beyond form, you're going basically just to your spirit, and that ain't got no form. So it's supposed to be utilizing everything like a bitch. I mean, like a switch. You know what I'm saying? Female Dog Purposes YouTube PBS channel, volume 6, 80 plus DMX. You know what I'm saying? Ralph Simmons. But at the same time, we still need to understand what's going on. And when we get into correspondences and stuff like that of understanding each area of our life, sometimes each area of our life be needing catered to, and we might not have a sufficient manner of catering to it. So a lot of times this is important to understand house lords, but we're going to go beyond house lords to understand how to use this as a mechanism, as a form of alchemy. You know what I'm saying? That you could utilize as chemistry, joining two energies or more to create another event. And therefore, this how you create your own revelation. This is how you have your own purpose. This is how you have your own destiny in some way, shape, or form within your own hands. And whether you're successful or not, you know that that was your purpose. And you know that you ain't waste your time on things you ain't supposed to be wasting your time on. And so before you died, you probably was smiling anyway. So you want to make sure that you're living out that kind of circumstance before we get deep into it. But, I just like to break things down for a good couple minutes to get people's mind right. So each area of your life, that's what you are experiencing as far as the spirit. So you're traveling through each space. Now, each space, you develop a different chakra, a different mentality, a different desire, a different lighter density version of your water cycle, masculine, thought, logic, and a more heavier density version of your water cycle, the more feminine, the more emotion. And every time you go into a new space, you spark a new awareness, aka that thought and feeling that could come together as a mind, and it becomes that actual light that you want to call a star or a planet, the way the shadow government try to get y'all lost into it. But the actual star is the atmosphere, your water cycle itself, interacting with other water cycles. But the desire you could get lost in is when these things crash with fusion and friction and produce an image, produce a vision, which will be your internal light, your internal sun of you being a man or woman. And therefore, that's what that's the actual allegory of the black sun. But for the most part, like I said, when you get into that attribute and stuff like that, right, you develop different versions of these different version of version. Every time you go into a new naked space and develop a blood there, an egg cell, a chakra, an esoteric concept of fleshly fluid, right? Then for the most part, it is no longer a virgin. So you have an immaculate conception, and you have 12 disciples, disciplines, or transitions that the spirit go through in its own cycle to develop or be aware of what is developing, which as far as these chakras or these desires or these light forms. And each of these light forms are mentalities that represent the space that you was in. So you can remind yourself when you're going through the cycle, just like a female having a period, you could actually be reminded on what you could be reminded on what's going to come to be and what have came to pass, and therefore you could prepare yourself in the present, therefore have more discipline or sustainability when it comes to handling your desires and things of that nature, because you know what space, aka you're in, and what mood you developed in that space. And then you have other spaces you was in and what awareness and moods you developed in that space. And there's going to be certain moods, certain streams of consciousness that you like in certain areas other than other areas. So sometimes you don't have the time of day for certain things that may participate in this area. Certain other times you may not have the time of day for certain things that participate in this area. And this breaks us down to the mathematical contexts of the houses and the ascendant, how it relate to you with your 12th house spectrum. You see what I'm saying? So this due to the fact of, let's say you're a Libra sign. You chose to make your solar plexus in the energy of the waistline area. So a lot of times as a spirit, when you choose to make your solar plexus and be aware of your other chakras, right, you might have certain dislikes or likes other than another sign that may be a Capricorn, right? So they chose to make their solar plexus in the kneecaps. So when they brought it back and used their solar plexus all over themselves to center themselves and things of that nature, they see it through the filtering lens from the kneecap. So these people like stability, security. They don't like to express everything that the organs and the chakras like to create within the 5th house when the solar plexus is there, which is charismatic gifts, character, expressing your creativity that sometimes may not appear to be disciplined or structure or practical and stuff like that. So, based on your natural alignment and how your house is set up for where you chose to perceive things being an observer, your ascendant, that's when you're going to be able to substantiate, your startings of each area of your life and how you need to participate, and sometimes what needs supported and sometimes where you are already sufficient at. Now, to decipher what needs supported and where you're already sufficient at, right? Where you're already sufficient at is whatever house you have a planet in. So you already have a chakra there, whether it's in a negative space or not. You have more abilities of manifesting those circumstances to be aware of first before the houses that you don't have no planets in. Now, any person, place, or thing that play out the energy, whether they're that sign or not, that act out the energies within your houses that you don't have no planets in, can low-key take advantage of you or teach you something new in a positive perspective, because you need help paying attention to that area of your life. And every now and then, if that area of life continue to be naked, there's a lot of responsibilities that the shadow government have created in the world for you to have to sustain yourself and then take the energy of that area of your life. And if you're not participating with that area of your life, you may lack information to be able to sustain yourself to go smoothly within life that they got constructed for us. So that's another purpose of this live stream also, so you can truly understand what's going on when it comes to each area of life and how you could kind of mix and match these things for yourself. For an example, right? A lot of times, I wouldn't recommend this, but this is a small attribute of understanding how to use alchemy. A lot of times, your relationship might be reaching a fork in the road. So it puts you in a position where you have to work on it. You know, no one wants to have a relationship that start to make us feel like we're doing a job. Eventually, every time you got a job, you're going to pick a day that you want to call off. So that's the wrong scenario to put a relationship in. But let's say if you're dealing with 7th house scenarios, dealing with your relationships, and it's at a point where it needs to be worked on, then that'll be a time that you put that in the 6th house. Because a lot of times the relationship area plays out a lot in the 7th, 5th, and the 8th house. And when you need to work on it, sometimes you need to put it in the area of life that deals with the 6th house, which is the area of life of everything that get accumulated, which is events from the water cycles coming together to create things to make you pay attention to work, health, routines, scheduling, doing discipline, constructed routines and patterns. So a lot of times what's needed. And since the 6th house is ruled by Mercury, that takes communication also. And a lot of times just the lack of that always be the ground and fall of a relationship having an unsturdy table and stuff like that, or the fall of a relationship. Thank you so much for the donation, Hector. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So, you know, one of the first mistakes and the falls of a relationship is the lack of communication, aka, so you need to put it in the 6th house. And the things that need to be communicated is more things that deal with routines, patterns, or, you know, someone is not taking care or upholding their end when it comes into responsibilities and things of that nature. And a lot of nervousness and insecurity can be played out during those times. So this takes us into a situation where, you know, anytime your relationship need to be worked on, you need to go ahead and put that into your 6th house. Therefore, it can see the light of day again when you place it into your 5th house, and y'all can have fun and enjoy amongst each other and be friends and entertain each other and things of that nature. And then place it in the 8th house, be amongst each other behind closed doors, so you could become each other's best friends and share each other's desires and stuff like that. But every now and then it has to get placed into that 6th house anytime the relationship needs to be worked on, due to the fact of one or the other individual taking the short end of the stick, due to the fact of another area of the other life not being taken care of, and things in that area of life is forcing the other partner to participate at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times that's what might happen. Like a person might be going through a family issue, so it takes them away from fully participating with the 7th house due to the fact of their spirit forced to be in the 4th house at the moment, dealing with home, family, and privacy and domestic issues and things of that nature. So keep that in mind too. All right, now, so we're going to get into each house and things of that nature, and how to like kind of utilize these things for your life in better circumstances and situations. And then we're going to break down each house or how to look at it from this perspective when you're trying to utilize it as a bee. I'm saying that there's be no individual that's just flunked out here in the world, and you ain't even really trying to use these things. I'm trying to kill this mother. What's that? So you don't be out here all flunked out and stuff like that, and you could use these things for you, and you don't use these things as an excuse to why you flunked out, because you know it's important to practice what you preach. When you don't practice what you preach, you know what I'm saying, you just like wasting your time throughout the day. You could have been doing a lot better things throughout the day, but you wanted to sit somewhere and get lost and fabricate and think you was doing shadow work because you sat Indian style all day, and then you think you get ready to accumulate with whatever you get ready to manifest, and then that's how it gets flunked out. know what I'm saying? Real stuff. All right, now look, check this out. Shout out to Dana. All right, now look. Now, when it comes to each area of your life that can possibly manifest into things you want to do or get out of life, there may be times you have to put the image you're projecting and see yourself in pertaining to that house, right, inside of another house, aka a area of your life, and allow the house you need support in, that area of your life, right? Allow that house you need support in to be supported by another house and the element that's in that house. So whatever house you put that energy in, for an example, the 7th house is your relationship house. So if you put it in the 6th house, you're allowing the 6th house energy and the element, the sign that's there, to support it. You see what I'm saying? When it needs to be worked on. And if you're not looking at it from that perspective, right, you're not going to have a starting point on what it means to place it in the 6th house. So one of the first tools you'll look at is what element is in your 6th house. What modality is that sign and element is. And that'll give you like a tool to be like, all right, let me work on the 6th house this way. And that's how the 6th house is going to be played out in some way, shape, or form. Or you'll just be thinking about the 6th house, how I described it, without knowing specifically how it's supposed to work for you. So you got to look at it like that. Or whatever element, if you put it in your 2nd house and things of that nature. You may be in a relationship that you're not valuing certain things, right? Which I'm going to be breaking down specifically for, but it could be any house you want to put it in, depending on where you may lack at. You know what I'm saying? So I should have kept it free, but I'm generalizing it as far as how I'm breaking it down, like if I was doing a lecture or something like that. That's why I'm doing it like this. But this is not the end all and be all. You can do this with any house. You could take one house and place it into any house depending on where you need support at. For an example, the 1st house. Like, okay, the rulers of the houses, right, and the falling and the debilitations and things of that nature is going to be all the supporting castes, right? So for an example, the 1st house is ruled by Mars. So the 4 houses that can support it is this Mars, debilitation, fall, and where it rules. So for the most, and it's going to be 4 houses that can support each house. So when it comes into the 1st house, this could be the 4th house because Mars falls in the 4th house. 7th house is debilitated in the 7th house. 8th house, it rules the 8th house on its nighttime shift. And the 10th house is exalted in the 10th house. It's on its 12 p.m. shift and things of that nature, right? So those would be the 4 houses. Now, I'm just breaking that down as far as to get your mind into it once I start to go deep. But that's not the end all and be all. For an example, let's say you got the 1st house represents your personal interests, right? Now, when I generalize it, these are just the generalized concepts when I'm getting ready to break it down. So the first go-to. But when you get deep into it, you'll start to know how to mix anyone up. So for an example, let's say you're dealing with a personal issue in your life. Let's say you need support. Then you will place your 1st house in the 7th house. Let's say you need more security. You will place it in the 8th house. Let's say you want your personality to be a status, to have a popularity level, right? You will place your 1st house in the 10th house. Let's say you want your personality to be more conveyed amongst your associations. You will place it in the 11th house. Let's say you want to personally be more invested into your dreams. You will place it in the 12th house. So when you place your 1st house energy in the 12th house, you will look at the element, the sign, and the modality. And that will be the tools on how to go about the 12th house when you're using the 12th house for your 1st house interests. The things that you want to do in your 1st house. And therefore, you will start to play into these energies, and week after week, because it'd have to be like 3 to 6 to 9 weeks, then 3 to 6 to 9 months. And then that's when you'll start to see confirmation and things of that nature, because, you still have to show God a sense of consistency. You can't just be out here trying to do things with witchcraft as shortcuts to get something tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? No one blows up tomorrow. No one blows up overnight. So if you following a demon that's making you feel like that's the go-to plan, and you're on the internet with that filtering system, you got the wrong idea. You actually get ready to build more resistance between you and your goals. And if you watch my channel, I only want spiritual, wise individuals who know how to do these things. And if you're not ready, don't even jump into it yet. Learn a little bit more, do a little bit more shadow work, self-reevaluation. Then when it's time for you to fight the outside world, because you're done fighting your own demons, then you can come out and play, because you'll fully understand what I'm talking about. You won't be coming with no limitations and things of that nature that only set me back. And I got to keep looking back at the back seat in the spaceship, and then you going to make us all crash and lose the battle and fight and things of that nature. So we need people fully in tune. You know what I'm saying? So when you start this, you know how to stay disciplined and stuff. Therefore, the expectation energy, it varies. It leaves percentage levels and stuff. So you don't be paying attention to that enough. And then therefore, you could go for your fire without the desire behind it. Therefore, when you do develop a desire, you're getting it from God and things of that nature. So whatever you did with your fire, you ain't had no expectation. And whatever you got from it was what God was going to give you. And it was better than if you would have jumped into it for expectation and jumping into it based on a desire first. Now you got all this inspiration because there's something in for it. It's something in for it for you. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, that's you jumping into it for the devil. And the devil will always dangle something in front of you and bring it back every time you get a little closer. Thank you so much for the donation, Shinola. You said, quick question, is money and amplifier and is deep depression a self-reflection thing? Well, deep depression is, it can be a self-reflecting thing, but it comes from looking at the lack of the things in your life. So a lot of times you don't have to self-reflect on your dislikes all the time or your lack of energy. But if you do develop it, a lot of times it can lead to extreme depression and stuff like that. But a lot of times a person could be just a depressing person. They ain't even reflecting at the moment. You know what I'm saying? They just got them type of mentalities of this a person they always gonna bring up the worst thing that could happen first and all this type of stuff, and it's just and ain't nothing going on at the moment, but that's just on their mind already. But if they go far into that and start self-reflecting too much on their trauma energies where they're getting that from, it leads into deep depression. And money just amplifies your desires because they made the world out of desires. Thank you so much for the donation, DPI Glow. So anything you are invested in, money makes it 10 times more. See what I'm saying? That's why they don't like God's children down here having money, because we'd make the world not care about money. Like if I had money like celebrities and things of that nature, you know how many soul group members would have already been popping, would have already had their thing going. You know how many lectures I would have already had. You know how many shows we would have already did. You know how many Galileo fashion shows we would have already did. You know how many Manly P and the P is for pilot, fall is for fall time lectures we would have had. You know how many, just all the stuff that you know how many broadcasting studio type things we would have had. How many things been in place and stuff like that. So, but people who work out of greed, when they get money, it amplify their narcissistic energies that they already in. So these be people that's selfish already. So they're only in it to amplify their selfishness. And then they start to get so insecure to maintain power. You got people who run the world right now. You know what I'm saying? And it just, money just amplified whatever they was already into, which we just see as a big ball of fart clouds of insecurities. Big bag of insecurities. That's all we see. Man, I'm going to get this, man. Did I leave a trash open? Because it's attracted to this light, man. This little fly. I'm going to get this little fly, man. For real, you don't come messing up Uriel's live stream, flying around. Because the weather changing. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to get trapped in people's houses and basements and stuff like that because the weather changing. You know what I'm saying? Little sick bees flying around and stuff, just falling on people's windowsills and stuff, man. Y'all gotta wait a few more weeks. You know what I'm saying? The shadow government messing up the weather and stuff like that. It ain't quite time yet. It ain't quite time. That's why y'all flying around all sick and flabby like Larry Holmes and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta wait. Especially you mosquitoes. Wait a few more months. How about waiting after Virgo season? Oh, so how about waiting after that? Yeah, y'all get ready to die again. Yeah, how about that? Wait till then. Now I'm with the government on that end. Yeah, y'all keep doing whatever y'all doing. As long as we don't get them, yeah, y'all keep doing whatever y'all doing. I'm with the government on that end. Anything to make them floating ghost sperms floating around trying to suck people's blood, let them wait till it ain't their season no more to think that they could come out. You know what I'm saying? And they be thinking the whole time like, wait a minute, did we miss our time? I say, yeah, you missed your time. Now I'm with the government on that. I'm saying real stuff. It's a gift and curse to everything. They like the Resident Evil. They might convince us by manipulating the weather that when we get the flu and cold, make us think it's something else floating in the air and stuff. But it's a gift and curse to everything. The gift in that is the actual things that be floating in the air can't survive. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta worry about getting stung that much. You ain't gotta worry about getting bitten, your blood getting sucked. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even think about it. You just left the pool. You know what I'm saying? You was at the beach or something like that. Had a good old time till it turned nighttime. Do you start scratching all over the place? Start figuring you got big old lumps everywhere. Big old mosquito having a good old time all day. All day when you was eating lollipops and stuff at the pool and stuff. Having a good old time. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't feel it. Your adrenaline was all, you was excited off the lollipop and stuff like that. Until at nighttime, you start scratching back of your head, behind your ear. Those good old places, those good old crevices places. They knew where to go too. They know where to go. Those good old crevices places, like right between the ear, like right behind it. You start getting that little lump inside your neck. You're like, why I got a lump inside my ear? You got a little fluids and stuff like that. You gotta wait till that go away. You gotta wait till it go away. They was having a good old time sucking your blood all day, eating good old pork chops, shrimp, fried, and McDonald's all day. Everything you was eating and drinking, milkshakes, Oreo McFlurries, all kind of a good old time. Now with the government on this, yeah, keep manipulating the weather. It's a little bit longer. Let's go. Let's wait. Let's get to fall. Let's get to fall. Thanks so much for the donation, DPI Third Glow. I appreciate that from more. Real stuff. Let's get to fall. Let's take this all the way to fall. Real stuff. Real stuff. I can do without. I can do that. I can do without the mosquitoes. I can do without the bumblebees. Now, shadow government, don't take that too serious. Because I know, y'all know I'm Uriel. They be secretly listening to me and doing the witchcraft. I mess around and say something. Y'all get up in the morning and watch the news, and they end up saying something like, yeah, we got to get rid of bees, y'all, because bees doing this. I said, no, I ain't mean that. I ain't mean that. I said, just like they trying to get rid of the gun laws and stuff like that right now. Do some new gun laws, because I was talking too much. I said, sometimes I be talking too much, and shadow government be like, oh, what Uriel want to do now? I said, I'll chill out. I want a school. Y'all pay attention to that one. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to that one. I want a school. Pay attention to that one. How about that witchcraft? I'm saying. How about that one? How about making humanity wake up on the news tomorrow and be like, yeah, we got Uriel in school, and we decide to put our concepts of religion and spirituality down, and the Pope decide to get up out of sea. How about that being on the news in the morning? How about that one? See, I always want to copy the negative stuff that we see in the world. How about the positive stuff for a change? Real stuff. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. But yeah, let's get into this. So, like I said, now, when it comes to each area of your life that can possibly manifest into things you want to do and get out of life, there may be times you have to put the image you're projecting and see yourself in pertaining to the house. Sometimes you might have to put that house into another house because it may need support and it may lack energy, especially if you ain't got no planet there. And a lot of times you may have a planet, a chakra there, right? And it might not like that area, right? You might got Mercury in the 9th house, 12th house. You know what I'm saying? Where else you can have Mercury at that can become debilitated and things of that nature. But yeah, you might got Mercury in the 9th house, in the 12th house. So for the most part, it might put you into a circumstance where no matter how hard you try, you still manifest weak energies. But you still got the ability to always create events in that area. So and even in that polarized shift of it, you still need support, because sometimes you go too far and don't know how to handle the energy you already got there because it's a debilitated planet there and things of that nature, right? Also, Jupiter. Anytime Jupiter in the 10th house, you know what I'm saying? 6th house, 3rd house, where else? Yeah, anytime Jupiter in the 10th house, 6th house, and the 3rd house, it can play extremely flunked out energies also. So it don't matter how wise you think you are, people don't hear where you coming from. They scared to take your advice. And you always got to be in those situations where you got to be like, oh, I told you so. And most of the time, sometimes you may even be wrong. So you go through a lot of insecurity problems because you never got the right morality, and you always experience a life circumstance where you see that your morality ain't what actually create positive circumstances. And you see other people doing things that's opposite to your moral systems or your upbringing, yet they're still able to obtain the things you want out of life. So that's damaging to you when you're looking in your esoteric mirror, when you're alone at the crib. And you know, I hate, and see, this is one of the things, and see, this is the PBS channel. Let me not go back into that, like the other live stream earlier. But that's the stuff angels look at, and where I gotta go beyond humanity and go for who's in charge of those mental fart clouds. And then I gotta be ugly in that realm. Because angels hate being ugly. I don't like coming here. I don't like casting stones at no humans. I don't like talking stuff about no Jews. I don't like talking stuff about no, I don't like that. I don't like talking stuff about no human. I like to look at everywhere like it's a good cop. It's a good fireman. But when something become an issue where it's affecting me now it's a problem. Now I gotta fight fire with fire. Now you make an angel a warlord. Man, I'm about to kill this mug. Now you're making an angel a warlord. And angels don't be wanting to do that. But we have to be more demons than y'all. You know what I'm saying? We gotta be more deep. We gotta be more of a demon than y'all and things of that nature. And we don't be wanting to though. That's the thing. Angels don't want to. That's the difference between me and a Jew and a Mason and Jesuits and stuff like that. We don't want to. All we want to do is love, but we cast it out from that. We got casted out from that long time ago, from God. We understand that. We understand how we fell short. It's humans who don't. Humans be using weird energies for their desires and insecurities. And man, that be the stuff that's supposed to let y'all flourish in life and create new organs and stop being scared of stuff like death and stuff. And death is beautiful to the point that physically we not even talking about it with that concept. We're talking about letting go. And insecurities is one of the first things you got to let go. But with these religions and stuff like that, you can't. They actually make you praise these things, praise these desires, praise these circumstances. And when you fall short and get crumbs and don't know why, that be why. But you never be looking at that because they always got you externalized. So you got to peep game. It's a deep world, man. I'm going to get this mug. I'm going to get it. Or her, whatever it is. Ain't got no business flying around sick because the weather changing. You better go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Now look. So, for the most part, so let me go back so I don't keep going off track. Now, when it comes to each area of your life that can possibly manifest into things that you want to do or get out of life, there may be times you have to put the image you're projecting and see yourself in pertaining to that house inside of another house, right? And that house, and you may need to allow that house to be supported by the house that you put it in based on the element, right? And the energy and the modality to assist it and create an event or outcome to go more in your favor via your goals. Each house has 4 other houses that can support it sufficiently. Anytime you start to experience a lack of things going in your favor in that area of your life that you need support and assistance in. Now, like I said, this is not the end all and be all, but this is going to give you the general perspective and the first go-to houses when we start to break down each house. Now, let's start off with the first house. The first house is a correspondence to making things happen in your personal life. So, there's a lot of things that people have in the first house that deal with personal interests, personal affairs, personal insecurities, for an example, if you got Capricorn in the first house, a lot of your personal interest is going to be to build in your personal life, be useful in your personal life. You got Cancer in your first house. You might be personally interested into having a home, a family, or have security, or not have your emotions stepped on or overlooked. You might got this Ascendant in Aquarius. So you're personally invested into associating yourself with others and communicating or making yourself a part of things, right? Or being intelligent and not being looked at as stupid or looked down upon like you're not capable mentally or physically about something and stuff like that. You'll ghost a person in a minute to get that personal space and that respect. You might got the Ascendant and Leo or something like that. So you're more personally interested in things that deal with arousing the feelings, creative attributes, things that get attention, or things that you could give attention to. You know what I'm saying? Or things that deal with inspiration, or things that deal with setting the stage, or things that deal with creativity or character or expression in some way. So just the expression itself. If a person too dry and they seem like they're not expressing what's truly on their mind or their heart, that can make a Leo, especially a Leo ascendant, feel negligent to this person or disconnected with this person in some way, shape, or form, or look at this person as disingenuous, when this person may just have an ascendant in Aquarius, or they may have an ascendant in Capricorn, or something like that, where just the way that they personally come across is restricted and things of that nature. And that's the way to how they gain comfortability. So these are things that we need to know before we start to understand certain things. So that might be a personal interest. Ascendant in Leo, a Libra, you know what I'm saying? You might be personally interested into things that deal with relationships, balance, communication, and stuff like that. Ascendant in Aries, you might be personally interested into individuality or creativity or inspiration or passion or motivation or desire or having your own personal space in some way, shape, or form. You know, ascendant in Scorpio, you might be personally interested into desires, passions, deepness, secrets, keeping things behind closed doors, or having a connection that you could have with someone that's eye to eye, not necessarily always verbally. So someone that you could trust in and feel comfortable around beyond communication. You know what I'm saying? You may have an ascendant in Sagittarius. You're more personally into spirituality or morality or having meanings or reasonings before personally participating with things. And if you can't find a meaning or reasoning behind it, you can't find yourself personally participating with it. So you start to look at it like a personal cage and start to play out energies of separating from things to have your personal freedom in some way, shape, or form, whether that's dealing with a person, place, or thing, or relationship. You know what I'm saying? That's a Sagittarius ascendant. And your actions and your reactions, how you go about these things, is your sun and moon. But this live stream ain't necessarily about that. We're going to get into just each area of your life and understanding from the ascendant to the second house to the third house and what things you need to pertain with when you want to start to make things happen. I just wanted to break down, you know, certain ascendants and things of that nature to let people know these are certain things that you want to make personally happen. You know, let's say you got the ascendant in Pisces. You might be personally invested into, and this is where we develop a lot of our insecurities too, our personal insecurities. Our personal affairs is the personal people, places, and things in our life. So always remember, the ascendant also is not always your personal traits. How you deal or develop your personal traits is based on your upbringing and what you was personally aware of. So what you was privy to. So all things in your personal life became a fart cloud, an accumulation of what you're personally invested into. And some of these things can become your personal traits. Some of these things can become your personal interests. Some of these things can become your personal insecurities. Most of these things came from your personal affairs, the personal people, places, and things in your life that personally know you and you personally know them. And for the most part, all of these things become your personality. So the way you act and react may not necessarily have anything to do with how you appear to be, which is your ascendant, your personality, how you personally come across, because it's just an accumulation of what you was personally aware of and things that you have took for other individuals who may not even be that sign, but they carried out certain situations that was your energy of the first house. You know what I'm saying? For an example, I got a lot of traits of my recipes, my Uncle Howard. But I got a lot of traits of my Uncle Howard, but he was an Aquarius, right? But here's the thing. As me being a Leo ascendant, it's not about always me getting attention. But sometimes I could get attention unwarranted, even when I ain't trying. That'd be different between the Leo moon and the Leo sun. The Leo sun will go too hard for it. The Leo moon feel more comfortable giving attention to others or things that they can receive it in and have a balance of it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of Leo moons, a lot of times connect with Libra suns. But here's the thing. Me being a Leo ascendant, my uncle was an Aquarius, but he was real popular. So what I seen through my eyes and things of that nature was he playing out. Now that I know I'm a Leo ascendant, he was just in the energy field of flaring up my first house. But he wasn't a Leo sign. So a lot of the traits, him being in a band and all this stuff like that, even though they was all crackheads and stuff, rest in peace. But like I said, but just him being in the music and, you know what I'm saying, everybody knowing him in the hood and stuff like that, that's the Leo energy. And like him uplifting everybody every time he around and stuff like that. So for the most part, and then he was all his siblings' favorite sibling and stuff like that. Because my mother, the oldest, but he was like, he wasn't the youngest, but for the most part, he was the most one around just because we was into, but it's a gift and curse to everything. By him being known in the hood and stuff like that, and everybody knowing him. So the people that ain't even my family and stuff like that call him uncle and stuff like that and stuff like that. So like I be having, I used to have cousins that ain't my cousins and stuff like that. It's flunked out. That became negative after a while. You know what I'm saying? And my uncle got killed. Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm just giving y'all a perspective of how to look at your first house and stuff. So a lot of times, just me being in music and stuff like that, people who know me in my real life or my family, I'll be like, okay, yeah, but your uncle did that too and stuff like that. Yet he's not a Leo. Y'all get what I'm saying? But that's what I pulled from him, me being a Leo ascendant, regardless if he was a Leo sign or not. So whatever ascendant you got, it don't matter. It's not always you. It's it's each area of your life. And your first house deals with your personal area of your life. So the things that you personally are privy to that can kind of build off as your personal traits or your personal issues or your personal insecurities. See what I'm saying? So Leo ascendant sometimes may feel weird when they do lack attention. But if they don't have a Leo sun or moon, they may not know that's what's going on with them when it comes to an insecurity. So they act out their sun and moon and be playing out energies where a person may not understand what's going on. And then they'll make up the suggestion. They'll be like, oh, this person appeared to be a person that just want attention. And the Leo ascendant might not be in it for that. But by them being a Leo ascendant, and that's what they're personally privy to, if they're not into astrology or doing shadow work, they're not going to know how to check that and show a person, oh, that's not actually me. I'm a Leo ascendant. You might not be into astrology like that. You know what I'm saying? Then you got to get to know me. You got to know my actions and my reactions, sun and moon, my wants and my needs. And every time, you ain't even got to be into astrology. Like when you meet people at work or people in the streets and stuff like that, first thing they're going to get from you is your ascendant. But when they start to get to know you in their mind, they're going to be like, oh, this person ain't like how I first knew them and stuff like that. And this how you develop enemies too. Sometimes you develop a person where you don't know them at first, so everything be cool, and then they turn into an enemy. Sometimes it's like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like you be in a situation where everything is smoothly based upon the ascendant, but once a person start to know your actions and reactions, your wants and needs, and you start to get to know theirs, y'all start developing that distaste, and stuff wasn't like how it was at the beginning. Yeah, the ascendant is wearing off, and the actual person traits is actually starting to play out. You see what I'm saying? That's how that works. You could be from a distance, first day at school or a couple of days at school or at your job or something like that, and automatically think in your mind, oh, I like that person, right? This person might have a Libra ascendant, Leo ascendant, or something like that. But let's say they got a Cancer sun or something that mess up the ascendant. Once you start to know them in your mind, you're going to start, and say you ain't into astrology, just in your mind at work, you're going to start thinking like, I thought I liked them, but now that I'm here for a while, I don't really like them like that. I thought I did. You know what I'm saying? The ascendant wearing off. You starting to see their sun and moon now. You starting to see their actions and reactions. And if they don't got like a good sufficient energy with the sun and moon to blend in the ascendant, you're going to start to see all the things that they go through when you not around, when they're by themselves and going through their insecurities, aka the sun squaring the ascendant or the moon opposing the ascendant. You know what I'm saying? That be things that if they ain't into astrology, they need to get into it so they can start figuring out why they flunked out and carry that self-reflective energy to the world without knowing that's what they're doing. Because 9 times out of 10, that be the problem. Everybody got their traumas and self-reflecting because in the middle of self-reflecting, they're really just trying to protect themselves from being vulnerable. But their level of comprehension of how to do it is faulty. So people get into weird shit, especially on the internet, books, online, news channels, psychologists, and these be very handicapped ways on how to do it. You'll be, the average individual will be thinking it's intelligent at your job or your family or your friend or your associate, but you watching my channel and you being observant, you'll be able to be like, okay, this is where they're pulling it from, and they really didn't need that, and I see why they need that, but at the same time, it's still a handicap. But I can see how it's not a handicap for them. Like you just looking at everything from a more spiritual perspective. You know what I'm saying? And then like just don't get too deep into that aspect sometimes, because you'll start disliking the world after a while. Because they'll be like, dang, you can't connect with nobody after a while. Even the people that you once upon a time could. You will start looking at that person as when you was in those shoes, and then look at you in that past and be like, I don't even like me when I thought like that. But I've realized that's how I got along with people, and I ain't know no better. But that's phony. But then you can look at it how it's like still how it ain't nothing wrong with it. But once you reach a different spiritual plateau, you still rather not. Like it's still like it's just phony after a while. It's like, humanity phony. Like, and sometimes as an angel, I don't even like taking humans to that space because it's almost like I ruined somebody's lifespan. You know, I said like I woke them up too fast. It make an angel feel like I wasn't supposed to do that or something like that. Let somebody enjoy themselves. Because once upon a time, you was at that stage. That's why you still cast down. It's just I love humanity so much. I don't want y'all experiencing the eons of times I already experienced. Being cast down so long. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, once upon a time, y'all remind me how fun it was of not knowing no better. So I be trying to be like y'all. Because, man, that is fun. It is fun not knowing no better and just learning stuff and being in the woods, not outside the woods, being a weird creature. Being in the woods where you can learn things from weird creatures, take it back in the woods and use it for brownie points, use it for ego, manifest things from the world, because this is how the Jews like the woods, how they plant the seeds and their virtues and principles and compete. And everybody get to look like they're somebody on the premise of destroying other people in the woods. And dog eat dog world in the mental world too, which are mental animal creatures that y'all be inside of as a spirit controlling. So it's like, it'd be fun though. I look at it from a distance. I ain't allowed to participate no more though. Not in the gift and the curse of it. I can talk as much stuff as I want and be as positive I want. None of it won't matter. I can put in the most work. It won't pay off. None of it won't matter. I'm not even allowed to participate with the work. So I only could teach and bring people to my part of the woods to make that world. But it's at a very early stage. So you're not going to get a lot of the desires and the things that you think this world is hyped up to be. And stuff like that. So a lot of times, y'all just remind me of where I used to be at, where it was just at that time, before biting any fruit, before getting lost in any desire, man. I did enjoy myself. And y'all make me cry at times because y'all take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? Then I gotta wake y'all up and put y'all through fire, brimstone, baptisms and stuff like that to wake y'all up from taking advantage of it. But then waking y'all up, it adds another problem sometimes. Because then y'all start realizing this world ain't nothing. And then it's like, dang, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I just ruined somebody's movie. Like, that's phony. Like, you know what I'm saying? My movie it's almost like I'm self-reflecting on the highest level. My movie been ruined by God. So I just come down here and ruin all y'all movies. But to me, I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Or we'll never get back to God if I just go ahead and give up. So it's like, we just in a contradicting world right now. And all I can do is say, I'm sorry, God. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can do. Real stuff. And ain't ashamed to do it. But I ain't about to have no human down here make me feel ashamed of some creative God gifts God gave me. That's what these other people be trying to do to y'all that I was talking about in the other live stream. They try to put y'all in situations to make y'all feel ashamed because y'all got creative gifts and talents and knife wonders of the world and stuff like that. And then they don't got these gifts and talents. So now you got to feel guilty about expressing your true self while now they could be superior and express their true self. But yeah, we got to laugh at our pain and make comedy movies about it. You know what I'm saying? But let us say one word about them and we ain't even got no more channels or nothing. Unless we play puppet again. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's phony. It's phony. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't like the way they abusing. I don't like how they abusing power and abusing, protecting their insecurities and putting that on other people who don't even got them problems. I don't appreciate that. But yeah, let's get into this. Now, first house. First house is making things happen in your personal life. So if you want to make things happen in your personal life, you want to make sure you put your first house energies in your 4th house, 7th house, 8th house, and your 10th house. Now, you're going to put it in your 4th house for genuine connection purposes, right? Because you can't make things happen in your personal life without a sense of genuine connection. Without no genuine connection, you're going to end up in jail or your business ain't going to build to the point it needs to go to. Or the things that you're personally interested in. You're going to start to feel lack of inspiration when there's no genuine connection there. 7th house. You're going to place your first house energy in your 7th house for networking purposes. There is nothing that you can make personally happen in your life without networking. 8th house, right? You're going to make sure that you put it in that house for motivational purposes, because sometimes you have to self-motivate yourself. So that's the other Mars ruler. Every now and then our personal life make us personally withdraw into our personal issues. So when you put your personal issues into your 8th house, you make them transform. So whatever element you have in your 8th house and the modality, that will be the tools that you're given to transform that first house using the element of the 8th house and the tools that the element that the 8th house have, which is the element and the zodiac. I mean, and the modality. So for example, let's say Aries ascendant, Scorpio 8th house, right? And you're going through something where you need to personal passion, right? That you're personally interested in or something, but there's no one in your personal life who's supporting. But it might be something that no one else can support. It's something you're supposed to do on your own first to make another person even feel like it's worth supporting. So you don't know that other family members or other people in your personal life might be looking at it like it's a la-la land. So at least you got to put in some work yourself to make another person feel comfortable. A person going to spend more time on what they got going on in their life. Like, you can't be dumping that on a person if you ain't got no results. Whatever you do in the mind, you got to practice what you preach first, or you just going to be a lost hope crying that somebody ain't supporting, and you ain't even show them nothing worth supporting. You're not even putting in the energy you want back. So here's the thing, right? Now, for the most part, now you might need some self-evaluation. So there may be a personal issue you have that if you put it in the 8th house, let's say you got Scorpio in the 8th house, right? Now in the 8th house, that's letting you know there's something you need to personally transform. That personal issue. You're tired of experiencing it. Now the element you have in your 8th house is Scorpio, right? So that will be water. So you know when you're trying to transform something personally, the first tool you need to use is look at something you're personally flunked out in emotionally. Whatever this issue is something you're dealing with emotionally, right? Now, once you understand that, look at the modality. It's a fixed emotion. It's an emotion that you don't think you in, and it's developing as stubborn, and it's no longer consistent and working for you, right? So now you have to look at that through the lens of your element and your personal, your first house. Aries, fire. So there's a passion that you're individualizing, right? That you're not considering in some way, shape, or form as far as it being a feeling that you just might be lost in. And you might want that passion that you're individualizing, cardinal fire in the first house, and you might want other people to personally see it from your personal perspective. But if you put it in the 8th house, you're not understanding that it can be seen as a fixed emotion, because all the 12 houses is you. So you need to see it from the 8th house perspective. You need to see it from an emotional perspective. And it may be in a fixed emotion that you need to let go. Melt that ice. Melt that fixed water. That iceberg that could be hot underneath cold water. See what I'm saying? Which is Scorpio. And you might be making yourself stuck in a situation. You might be developing grudges where they're not needed in your personal life. So as soon as you put that first house in the 8th house, it's going to show you all that. It's going to show you all that. You might be developing grudges where there aren't any, all this type shit, right? Then, for the most part, once you look at the element and the modality, now you know that's what's needed to be transformed. Now, once you transform 8th house, that supporting energy for the first house, you're personally transformed, and now you no longer caring about that person in your personal life supporting or not. You have the internal motivation to actually go for what you need to go for. So the 8th house always should be used for motivational purposes. So I had to break it down to a T before we go into all this, so y'all can know how to do this with the other shit and shit like that. And then if I get through this fast enough, we'll go deep like that with other shit, or y'all could like leave a comment saying, yo Dolo, yo Uriel, I got this here, and then I go in on yours and what you need to do and stuff like that. And then I'm oh yeah, I already posted things how to get readings and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying, I like to break things down how you can use it in your real life. I don't play around with this. I don't like to just do things for no reason and it's not productive. I'm from the hood. I would never be into astrology or none of that if I wasn't with God and see the world for what it is and see how something could work for your actual life. So I bypass all the newspaper aspects of it and stuff like that, and we get actually into the actual correspondences of it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's one thing to learn it. All right, now what can I do with it? Now let's start being an alchemist. Let's start being a spiritual alchemist now. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Let me go ahead and screenshot this too, because you know the shadow government be playing with me. They be following me on this channel too. But the more and more I give them the energy that they want, I've been putting that to the test too. Let me be quiet. For people who talk to me behind closed doors, I'ma show y'all. Y'all gonna be seeing. I'ma roll some dice. It's gonna be a 7. We're gonna have a conversation. I'ma go live. I'ma show y'all. You're gonna be like, dang, this is not even just what I speak online. I'ma show you in real life how I be playing with them. It's all about acting out a character. But if you know what you're doing, and you know that they the fool, you will test that water a little bit just to see, just for God to show you a confirmation. Then as soon as you see it, step back, teach about it, tell other people about it, so we can start building up. But I ain't gonna get into that type of detail right on this one, because it's a spiritual warfare going on right now. So it's a certain character I play out with the anger and aggression. And I know that's what they want and expect. I do it, then I retract once I see the outcome, just for God to be like, look, see, child, they ain't nothing this day. And that's how angels capitalize without needing them. So I can continue to spark my own light and use their stuff for the world too. Use their dollar bills too. Use their cities and buildings too. And still be able to play. Like God teach me how to be intelligent. You know what I'm saying? God teach me how to be intelligent. And this is what I'm going to teach y'all. Real stuff. So how you can get ahead. Rock everything to sleep. And why they think they rocking you to sleep. Other than that, check this out. Now, first house, right? Pardon me. So the first house, making things happen in your personal life. A lot of y'all got a lot of personal interest. These are some of the tools that you can use to allow things to play out in your favor in your personal life. Utilize the debilitation of Mars. The 4th house. Use this for genuine connection purposes, right? There may be certain family that can help you. You too busy looking for things out there, and there ain't nothing out there for you. And there may be somebody who been in your corner. You just ain't opening your heart chakra enough. Family or someone who close to you that's not family, but y'all shared a lot of vulnerable experiences together. So that can help you make personal things happen. The 7th house for networking purposes, right? You need to learn how to become more relatable. The only reason things is not personally happening for you because you're too isolated. You got too much personal space and freedom. Put that first house in that 7th house a little bit and start relating your personal space with another in some way. So the 7th house is very sufficient when you need things, when you're practicing this like alchemy. 10th house for status and career purposes. So this is going to always be for status and career purposes, but not for all of them. Just for the first house one, because it's a Mars relative energy. Mars is exalted in the 10th house. So whatever element and modality that you have in the 10th house is going to be the energy that you use for your first house in order to start making things personally happen. So when you say things ain't happening in your first house and you place it in your 10th house, right? That's you making yourself known for something. You may be personally interested in something, right? But no one know you for it. So you need to broadcast it. 10th house. You need to start getting known for it. 10th house. Then once people start to know you for that personal interest, then you can start to decipher based upon the reactions, negative or positive, how to go about it to make it more sufficient. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. And when you get knocked down, you get right back up. If you was to lose it all, you know how to regain it all back again. You're not even going to be able to learn how to do that without putting these things into action. See what I'm saying? Now, 2nd house. Anytime you're trying to make things happen with your values, your gifts, and your talents, and the things that help you with your self-esteem. So anytime you're trying to make things happen in this scenario, right? This puts you in an area where this is going to be the 6th, 9th, 11th, and, oh, my bad. the 1st, 7th, 8th, and the 12th house. So these are going to be the Venus transitional houses. You're going to need the 1st house for support because Venus falls in the 1st house. So anytime you got good gifts and talents, or you probably got Venus in the 2nd house, and you start to reach that fork in the road, right? You might not be looking at the opposition of it, aka where it's debilitated, aka the 1st house. So you might need to jump into that area to figure out what Venus is actually missing, because it rules the 2nd house, whether you got it there or not. And the 1st house can remind you what is missing. You might not be loving yourself or your personal interests and self-sacrificing because who you value at the moment and what they valuing. And this would have been helping you build your self-esteem. But you start to see the proof in the pudding not actually being valued as much as you value in them, which allows you to have to remind yourself, putting your 2nd house in the 1st house every now and then. See what I'm saying? 7th house. That's the daytime ruler of Venus. So you might need support in that area. So this is gonna be for networking purposes. So the 1st house is gonna be for personal purposes, to make things happen with your values, gifts, and talents, and things of that nature. Self-esteem. To utilize it in the 1st house is for personal purposes. Yeah, a lot of times your values, you're not valuing yourself. So a lot of times the reason why you're not making things happen when it comes to your creative gifts and talents, because you're not valuing them enough. So anybody be taking advantage of it, and not giving you what you actually worth, or not paying you what you actually worth. So you're going to be forced to more value yourself in the 1st house. And Venus is debilitated in the 1st house, but when you reach that fork in the road in the 2nd house, that means that you're not playing out the opposite energy on a percentage scale for it to be balanced. When you go too extreme, especially if you got Venus in the 1st house, you love yourself too much to the point that you become narcissistic, or a person that always loved themselves or their own personal interest before another individual. So it creates an imbalance and things of that nature. Now, so for the most part, that's the 7th house. Now 8th house, Venus is debilitated there also. So for the most part, with the 8th house, this is for motivational purposes. When you're making things happen with your values, your gifts, and will help you build your self-esteem, a lot of times you need to understand the external world is not going to help you build your self-esteem. So you need to transform something within yourself and realize what you value is not your own emotions, not your own fixated emotions. And that's what you need to practice that shared value with. Your emotions is what's all the charm at. And you're not using your emotions to gain security and make money off of and things of that nature. So you need to develop your own passions and value yourself a little bit more sufficiently. And then the 12th house, right? For faith and belief purposes, because Venus is exalted in the 12th house. So the 12th house can get a lot of support there. Anytime you reach a fork in the road when it comes to making things happen with your values, gifts, talents, and your self-esteem, right? Sometimes, a lot of times, you got an unhealthy imagination. You put faith, belief, and imagination into the wrong people, places, and things in religious systems or spiritual systems. So every now and then, when you reach a fork in the road in your 2nd house, you got to check yourself by putting your 2nd house into your 12th house, aka your values and the things you plant seeds in to build your self-esteem and your creative gifts and talents, aka your 2nd house to ground yourself, right? Sometimes you need to place it into your 12th house. Have a dream. Value your dream. Stop valuing people. Valuing imagination. Stop valuing others and things and other people's imagination. That is help you build your self-esteem, because you're not ruffling waters by valuing their imagination. You know what I'm saying? That's flunked out every now and then. So, place your 2nd house into the 12th house so you can put faith, belief, and imagination in the things that you value. You know what I'm saying? Put that 12th house energy and help it support your 2nd house. Faith, belief, and imagination. 12th house. And help it support your 2nd house, your values, imagination. Your values, where you plant seeds in your gifts and talents. Rather, other people, quote unquote, 12th house, believe it or not. See what I'm saying? And therefore, that's how you have self-check, and you will start to make things happen when it comes into your 2nd house energy. 3rd house, right? Now, when it comes into the 3rd house, this is making things happen when it comes to friends, environment, or ideas that be shared, that can manifest as you being the next Nikola Tesla with your team, right? Now, you're going to be utilizing or have to utilize the 6th, 9th, 11th, or the 12th house. See, I like to use everything like a bee. I make anything a house lord system. You know what I'm saying? Without even using the planets. I'll make anything a house lord system. I'll be like, how this work? And I'm an Aries, so I like to test things. Like, what is this? What is this? Like a toy. And I don't talk about nothing unless I do it and see the outcome. Then I feel safe to talk about it. I ain't no fool. I ain't no gish galloper. I ain't no what they call that? those fake teachers and stuff like that, where they be trying to rock people to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Charlatan. Yeah, I ain't no charlatan. None of that. I ain't even gonna speak on something if it's low key mentally ill. Because you know, I was about to say the R word with the RE and people taking a tar on the ground after it put a D on it, vitamin D. But it is just the PBS channel. But yeah, third house, right? So the sixth house, you're going to be utilizing this for consistency purposes. So anytime you're trying to make something happen when it comes to your friends, environment, or sharing ideas, you want to utilize the sixth house for consistency purposes. Sixth house is going to always be for consistency purposes, even when it's utilized in the other houses that it pertains to, right? Because third house is correlated to Mercury. So we know Mercury energies is correlated to the sixth house. It rules it on the nighttime shift. Sixth house, Virgo house. Is debilitated in the ninth house, is debilitated in the 12th house, and so keep that in mind. Then the 11th house is just a shared air element. So you know, Aquarius energy or the 11th house is an air planet. I mean, an air sign ruled by Earth planet Saturn. You know what I'm saying, for the most part. So you know, Aquariuses have a lot of connection with Virgos and Geminis, because Geminis, they share air, and with Virgos, Virgo is a Mercury nighttime ruler sign. So for the most part, it's basically a water it's an earth planet ruled by, it's an earth sign ruled by an earth planet. And Aquarius is an air sign ruled by an air planet. Oh, I got this backwards. I'm tripping. Aquarius is an air sign ruled by an earth planet, and Virgo is an earth sign ruled by an air planet. Exactly. So that's a lot of times why you can see Virgos and Aquariuses in relationships or things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Because Virgos are earth signs ruled by air planet Mercury, and Aquarius is an air sign ruled by earth planet Saturn. I think I mixed that up the last time too, but I got it right that time. So they go about it in different ways, but the things that they're going about be kind of like the same things. Trying to learn information about what they're getting ready to associate themselves with. Now, so for the most part, third house, sixth house, you're going to participate that with consistency. So reason why things ain't happening with your friends, environment, or sharing ideas, there's a lack of consistency in something. And you probably all over the place. So you're not manifesting anybody around you in your environment to develop enough information to feel comfortable with stand down with something. And you probably that type of individual that's not stand down with others. So you're not building that consistency energy. So anytime you reach a fork in the road with making things happen within your environment, group effort, you might be like a Kemet scholar, you might be a Hebrew Israelite, you want to argue in a corner, but you the only person, don't nobody want to come with you and look like a Power Ranger or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or a Mortal Kombat character and stuff like that. You probably don't got no consistency. You know what I'm saying? You probably on this street, that street, that street. You probably got somebody who wants you to be on one street for a long time so they can feel comfortable enough to be like, all right, let me start popping up over there. You probably be developing too many ideas of you all over the place, so a person just be like, man, I would go with them, but they be at this corner, they be at that corner. I never know where they at, like, for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So you got to build more consistency. Throw that third house into the sixth house. Now, let's say the ninth house, right? Anytime you're not making things happen within your environment, you need to put it in the ninth house. This is for experiences purposes. So a lot of times you're not experiencing enough. You're not experiencing enough of your capabilities or incapabilities or learning or having enough morality and seeing if they work or not so you can readjust it. So a lot of times you have to gain more information or learn more, experience more, travel internally or externally when it comes to or add more meaning and purpose to your friends and stuff like that. You probably be acting like you don't have no meaning and purpose to nothing. So you don't make nobody around you feel like there's a meaning or purpose to being all in to any idea that you come up with. So you got to keep that in mind too. And then the 11th house, right? For association purposes, right? So anytime things ain't happening in your third house, because you ain't associating yourself enough. Yeah, you got this good idea to do something with the environment, but you ain't putting up no posters. You know what I'm saying? You don't got no street team. You don't got no street idea to go about it. You don't got no grassroots concept and things of that nature. So yeah, it sound good. It sound good when we at the family reunion. Yeah, it sound good when we at work. Yeah, it sound good when you come over my crib or I come over your crib. But dang, where's the plan? that I could feel like I could be a part of it or not? Or is this going to go in one ear and not the other? And I'm going to add to the conversation. And then when I go home, I'm going to do what I do anyway. And then you're going to be somewhere throwing some weird posts up online like, oh, yeah, people not supporting. Well, then when I was at your crib, it ain't sound, you ain't had give me no plan. Ain't had no plan. It sound good, so that I ain't had no choice but to add on to a good conversation. It's just, but when is you going to say, do you need me to get the posters or something? You know what I'm saying? Other than that, you're not putting no 11th house energy in it. You see what I'm saying? So, boom. Now, 12th house, right? Now, this is for faith and belief purposes. So, when things not happening within your environment, you need to place it in that 12th house, right? You don't got no faith belief yourself. So, how you going to expect me to believe in what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm your friend. Yeah, I'm your next door neighbor. But what you talking about is, it sound like it's real. You need 1,000 opinions. It don't sound like you sure about nothing. It sound like you ain't got no faith and belief in it. Don't expect me to have more faith and belief in your stuff than you. You know what I'm saying? So anytime you reach that circumstance or situation, you know you're dealing with that third house scenario with your friend, and the reason why they acting that way, don't become no like weird competition and throw no weird energies on them. You need to check yourself. You ain't showing them that whatever you expressing, that you got a faith, belief, and imagination. Because here's the thing. You'll be sitting down looking at other people who sloppy at something. They ain't even good at something, and they still be attracting people. I seen them my whole high school time. Beautiful girls going with old fat Larry Holmes and Fat Alberts and stuff like that. But see, it ain't got nothing to do with looks and things of that nature. So you have to peep game. So a lot of times when it comes into the third house, placing in the 12th house, sometimes it's a person having to put enough faith, belief, and imagination in something. And that alone, even if that person leading y'all to rob a bank or something like that, that alone would make a person feel like, all right, I got faith in this person. Let me go ahead and follow them. I don't advise nobody to go rob no bank, but I'm just making this as an example. So sometimes this why you could go to Planet Fitness 1,000 times and stuff like that because your uncle took you there or your parents took you there and stuff like that. So you went to high school and thought you needed that to go get your love interest, and your love interest went with Fat Albert or some pet leprechaun or something like that. And you was like, man, what's wrong? The problem was when y'all was in the classroom, you show energies of insecurities and not having faith, belief, and imagination in yourself. And you had all the cuts and stuff in the world. Yet, little Mr. Pac-Man Frogger and stuff like that and stuff, he put a little bit of faith, belief, and imagination in him, whatever he said to her or whatever she said to him. You know what I'm saying? Whether she look like Miss Piggy and stuff like that, or little Miss Helga of Hey Arnold. You know what I'm saying? And then you probably a female, like, how she get him? Or you probably like a man and stuff, a little boy and stuff like that, little cuts and stuff like that, because your family took you to Planet Fitness early. So and stuff like that. So you like, man, what's she seeing him? 12th house energies. Go get you some. You know what I'm saying? There should be no excuse. You got people like Donald Trump that became the president and got Trump towers in New York and stuff like that. Don't so you know what I'm saying? Go get you some. Go get you some 12th house energy. You got people like who was in like Biggie Smalls in the world. Rest in peace, Notorious B.I.G. Go get you some. Go get you some 12th house energy. No excuse. No excuse. You got people like Jews who run the world. Go get you some 12th house energy. I'm saying. Put you a little faith, belief, and imagination of what you got going on. You'll never know what God will get you. You'll never know what God will give you. Real stuff. Go get you some. Go get you some 12th house energy. I'm sad. Now, 4th house, right? Now, with the 4th house, this is anytime you're trying to make things happen when it comes to home, family, and close ones, obtaining or either obtaining privacy. You know what I'm saying? You might be reaching those forks in the roads in your life. Let me stop saying fork in the road because I'm about to get on the road. I always want to make stupid allegories that's going to manifest, and then when it manifests, I'm like, oh, dang, wow, I knew where that time came from. Let me make another allegory. Anytime you reach a blockage in the circumstance, right, when it comes to making things happen, when it comes to your home, family, or close ones, or obtaining privacy. Like a lot of y'all may be going through situations in your life where it seems like it's hard for you to get a little privacy. Like you got a blockage. Like every time you get that little piece, here goes somebody calling, here goes somebody doing this. And you know you feel guilty even putting the phone on airplane mode or don't disturb at the moment because you know it ain't that type of party. You know you're supposed to go ahead and answer the phone. You know, at this point, you just being mentally lazy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, don't be throwing no weird spiritual excuses to why you ain't doing something you know you're supposed to do. But anytime you experiencing them weird blockages and stuff, especially when it comes to obtaining privacy and stuff, is because, you know, it's hard to make that happen because what you need to utilize. And for the most part, this is going to be the 2nd, 5th, 8th, and a 10th house. You know, the moon is exalted in the 2nd house. The moon, and then the moon has relative relationship with the 5th house. You know what I'm saying? That's the father. I mean, that's the husband of the 4th house. And then for the most part, the moon falls in the 8th house and is debilitated in the 10th house. So all of these can be supporting houses to any time you're in a situation where one needs to help the other when it's not having that sufficient energy based upon the 4th house being ruled by the moon. So, because sometimes you come across too extreme and you need to check that house, aka the houses that is relative in, like the 2nd house. Sometimes you're not being extreme enough, so you need to utilize the houses that is debilitated in, such as the 8th and the 10th house. So for the most part, here's the thing, because a lot of times y'all be letting y'all emotions get walked all over, and it don't be that time of day you're supposed to allow that to happen. And then you will let something else accumulate in your life in another experience that don't have nothing to do with that family member, friend, or associate or coworker you allow to walk on your emotions. And then you will manifest another situation that don't go in your favor. And you won't be knowing that's the starting point. And the starting point, when you allow someone to walk on your emotions, it play out as a mental trait, and then it bends in on itself and become your adrenaline, your blood. So it play out as your body language and play out as certain ways you formulate words and statements. And sometimes that play out as certain jittery forms to block you from opportunities or make you come up with an idea to not do something that you were supposed to do to experience something. And it get that deep. Sometimes your first thoughts be like 2 weeks ago. And it'll accumulate into an event that ain't in your favor. And you were supposed to check that first thought. And you'll be thinking your first thought was the first thing you need to come up with to handle the event after it's already happening. And that don't even be the first thought. That'd be thought 95. That'd be thought 100. You know what I'm saying? Pertaining to that line of train of thought, line of reasoning, and stream of consciousness. Because you be having thousands of billions of thoughts, but each of them be having different paths because all your different thoughts and feelings be from different chakras when you be traveling through your realms as a spirit. You know what I'm saying? So when you be having one goal with water cycles that got those stream of consciousness, like that play out as certain events, because we be having many events in our lives from many different starting points. When you in this circumstance from a starting point, right, that be thought 112th. The 112th thought that you be thinking is the first thought, but you be already coming up with thoughts to deal with a situation after something already accumulated. And that first thought with that line of event, stream of consciousness event, line of reasoning, might have happened 2 weeks ago, if you get what I'm trying to say. So you always got to do self-evaluation. Because you'll be seeing yourself on, if you're sensitive to the senses enough, God will be showing you along the way before an actual event even explode to the point that you can't see it no other way. Like, dang, I messed up, or it's a situation of a mistake. It be stuff happening along the way. God be showing you like, look, this ain't necessarily the right path, and it be filtering out through people, places, and things as the event in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. That kind of be like, make you unsure. You be like, well, maybe I should keep going, but something ain't right about something. It's just not showing me that it's not right enough on a larger percentage scale to make me totally switch the path, or make me think that this is what's even going on at the moment that I need to switch a path. But you will be able to catch it. And if you separate early enough, it might look like how you participated with the situation, you was wrong. But if you was with God, God will give you enough confirmations to show you was right. And you, whatever you do, these people who thought you was wrong will come around. They will have to. Because God will use you as a vessel to show them something that why you was right anyway. And they was wrong to even be on that path. But yeah, when it comes to the 4th house, right? So when it comes to making things happen, when it comes to home, family, close ones, and obtaining privacy, right? You need to place it in the 2nd house. Right, for values and security purposes. A lot of times the reason why things ain't happening for you when it comes to creating a home, making a home, or having some form of emotional comfort, your internal home and stuff, the house of Jerusalem, your heart area where America and England is at inside of you, is because you're not valuing yourself in some way, shape, or form. You're not having, because the 2nd house has to be for security purposes and things of that nature, for values and security purposes. So you're not planting enough seeds in home base. You're too much scattered. You're too much needing validation from people outside of home, aka outside of your own validation or outside of people who actually care about you. And they probably be giving you negative opinions at the time that you need to hear, but you don't like it. You don't like it because it's filtered through negative opinions. So sometimes you got to check yourself and understand sometimes the word no is needed or a negative opinion is needed. So you can self-reevaluate and put yourself in someone else's shoes to see yourself, aka for value and security purposes. Fifth house, for creative and entertainment purposes. The reason why sometimes things don't happen when it comes to creating a home or close ones or obtaining privacy, because a lot of times you need to put it in the fifth house. Sometimes you don't got no privacy because you don't got people around you who look at you like you're doing something that you care about something. And whatever that you care about, they know that you need time alone to do it. So you don't got no creative fifth house gifts like drawing or music or whatever like that for a person to come up in their own mind that's close to you to be like, all right, let me leave this person alone right now. This is their time of peace, or this is their time of working on something or something like that. You don't have that going on, so the average person that's close to you don't know that you need privacy. And a lot of times you might just need privacy so you can develop a purpose. But if you don't even know that and you ain't got no purpose, and that time your spirit start to yearn for privacy and you don't know that's what it's yearning for, you just become frustrated amongst everybody that's around you, not knowing that your spirit just really needs some time alone to develop a purpose, to have a reason for this time alone, for it not to be negative when you're in that time alone, doing things for the demon, not for God. Because we all doing the same thing. It ain't how you do it. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it. In all spectrums of life. Ooh, shit! I need a big old hug right now, with some soft something's got like a soft chest. You know what I'm saying? Some soft cookie chest. Oh shit! This remind me of this. Y'all ever taste this shit? What is this shit? Indian spice popcorn. What the hell is this shit? You know what I'm saying? I can't. I gotta wait all the way to Friday. I gotta wait all the way to Friday. You know what I'm saying? I gotta wait all the way to Friday for that shit. I gotta wait all the way to Friday for this too. Y'all ain't hip. I gotta wait all the way to Friday for this too. Y'all ain't hip. You know what I'm saying? Cinnamon Toast Crunch soft batch. I ain't no soft batch made cinnamon toast. You know what I'm saying? Cause the Chips Ahoy soft batch is good by themselves. I ain't no Chips Ahoy made soft batch cinnamon toast crunch. I'm saying. I gotta wait till Friday. Gotta wait till Friday. I'm saying, I got my daughter one on her own. They already about gone. So I already know they good. Real stuff. I'm a big kid. Ain't about no sharing. You get your own. You know what I'm saying? You go figure out what you want your own. You know what I'm saying? You get your own whole thing. Thank you so much for the donation, Simon Steffens. I appreciate that from my heart. And I'm just taking a quick commercial, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all know I just gotta breathe a little bit. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I just be needing a consort for that. You know what I'm saying? Just let me hug you for 5 minutes. God taught me that's healing. You know what I'm saying? That God, it ain't all about sex all the time and stuff like that, man. Sometimes the divine feminine energy itself. So first I gotta train the mind first though, because sometimes y'all be having weird stuff on y'all mind, like insecurities and stuff like that. But the divine feminine, you're supposed to have a certain mind state. Then when you around a man, especially a man that's going through physical illness and stuff like that, it don't matter what the physical illness is. Sometimes a hug heals. Y'all don't be knowing y'all power because y'all don't got ain't no school to teach y'all about this. It's only school about teaching porn and Ice Spice and stuff. It ain't no school to teach y'all actual power. Yet y'all do it in small percentage levels every day. But the shadow government, the Jews, taught everybody how to do things with insecurities. So y'all will use y'all power, but in misguided ways. So it ain't what we do, is how we do it. You know what I'm saying? We all doing the same thing all the way down to twerking. Ain't nothing wrong with twerking. But the shadow government got everybody confused. So you could be spiritual, and if you like see other people that go to church and stuff, they like cast stones at you if you twerk or something like that. Twerking ain't got nothing to do with none of that. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing. All the way down to women shouldn't preach in churches. Like it's a whole bunch of stuff they got y'all wrapped in because of their concept of the world. It don't even mean that. Women in the Bible means your emotions. Male and females got that. You actually got more men preaching out of their woman than women who actually preaching in the world. How about that? You know what I'm saying? You actually got thank you so much for the donation. The mini cereals. You said the mini cereals was good. My friend loved my hugs. Should I start charging? Yeah. Stuff like that. That's how y'all be Miss Cleos and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Like, I mean it. You think I'm joking around. You probably joking. I'm dead serious. That's what my consort be. My consort get paid off anything. Real stuff. She gonna do flight tarot card reading. She gonna get paid off just people looking at her hands. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Flipping the cards. Paid off anything. Like, this is a glorified body right here. You know what I'm saying? Everything productive. We don't do nothing for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Anything a human do for no reason, lead them humans doing it for no reason. You make things happen down here. You know what I'm saying? The divine feminine's supposed to have an example out here. Y'all ain't no examples. Ain't no school, ain't no Walt Disney movies, nothing as an example of how we supposed to use our mind down here from the divine masculine or divine feminine. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Like, it start with the mind, then the body. It's a certain mind state that a spirit in a female body can go into faster than a man that deals with self-healing. Everything has a gift or curse that also allow a female to be fatigued for no reason, even if she ain't even get up and did anything and stuff of that nature. You see what I'm saying? Where it's a gift or curse to everything. On the man's side, this allows a man to get up and not be fatigued and work all day, regardless if he depressed or not. And knowing how to get rid of that emotion and still get the job done. Like, y'all get what I'm saying? It's like in the spiritual world, it's like the powers work differently, but they're powerful in other ways. We don't know where they're powerful at. That's why we all scattered and don't know what to do. So you got females using the divine feminine for little boy divine masculine. You got the divine masculine using it for better male feminine energy. And we're all confused now. Well, humans. So that's the issue. That's the issue. But let me finish this. Now, for the most part, so for the fourth house, now you also may need to put it in the fifth house. The reason why things ain't happening in the home or family or close ones and things of that nature, or you obtaining privacy because you ain't got no creative attribute for people to know that you need that. So you can have that little time to create something that can build a home. Eighth house, for motivational purposes, right? For the most part, you're not even planning out the energy that you want privacy and stuff like that, or having some deep desire, passion, or motivation where you have no choice but to have to be left alone because you're deeply invested into something. So there may be something in the fourth house that you need to participate in the eighth house, so you can have a starting point to building a home, or having someone support you from a distance, like a celebrity or something like that, and start to put you in certain platforms and stuff. Now, and you can have your job from home or create a foundation or a home base for your creative gifts. And then the 10th house for career or business purposes. Sometimes you need to put the 4th house in the 10th house in some way, shape, or form for career and business purposes. Sometimes you got to make a status out of things, make a legacy out of things. You're not doing things that have anything to do with a legacy. You're not doing anything to have your last name be respected and stuff like that. So sometimes that's the reason. You might want people in your family and stuff to support you, but you don't be paying your own bills. You be needing them to support you in other ways that ain't got nothing to do with you just being a dope and you want them to support your career. First, you got to get yourself on your 1-2 so they can support your career, not be supporting you so you can sit down somewhere on somebody's couch to think about developing a career and you just making excuses every week talking about you going to get a job. Or if you're a female, get a man. Because that's another thing that the shadow government got y'all in too. Be making y'all feel like a female, her job is to get a man with a job. Her job ain't necessarily to get a job. But they created those type of circumstances for y'all. And then they put better males in situations to make a female feel weird to even try to give her life to a man like that. Because she got to think about what would happen if he want to start smelling his own butt and then think he can like create polygamy and discard me and I could become disposable. And like females think about that. You know what I'm saying? They deeply invested in it. A female don't want to be hurt. So 9 times out of 10, if you around a man that ever make you feel like that and things of that nature, that ain't the right type of individual because y'all not into the same thing. When you meet a man that you into the same thing, you kind of like don't be thinking about that. It'd be less on a percentage scale because y'all too busy having conversations. What y'all gonna do? So you know he can't even see doing that with another chick. You know that's gonna take a long time starting over on what y'all already was communicating about. So just his actions don't even show that. And he get the same energy from you. Like, at that point, a person is just horny or something like that and they can get it from you. But at some point, you got to start a relationship like that. And y'all don't be starting relationships like that. Because when you invest in someone, because y'all into the same thing, it ain't really a lot of time to be thinking about, well, this person could just discard me, whether this person is popular or not. Because y'all done took so long in y'all goal, you know that this person ain't sitting there talking a long time doing that with someone else. So that comes before the lust and stuff. So for the most part, that means y'all started a spiritual ship. Y'all didn't start no relationship where y'all got into it based upon a lust and y'all was already invested into what y'all was already invested into. So once the lust wear off, the thing that's important is y'all into the same thing, and eventually y'all ain't. So y'all gonna drift off to the people y'all are into the same thing with, and that's gonna play out as y'all separating from the person that you was invested with. So y'all wasn't in no spiritual ship. Y'all was in a relationship built on how the Resident Evil Corporation set up their romance. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta keep that in mind. You gotta be getting involved with people who's into the same thing you're into. Therefore, when y'all building that investment, you ain't a lot of time to be getting lost. Y'all got a goal at hand. So even when y'all are upset and mad at each other and things of that nature, that don't mean y'all, for an example, right? When you start a spiritual shit, you're more with a person that you rather be frustrated with. So even when y'all do need breaks and stuff, it don't go as far as y'all cheating. It go as far as y'all spiritually knowing y'all spirit just needs space because that's what spirits do at the moment when they smother themselves too much. So y'all just be issues for regular people don't really be real issues for y'all. So for the most part, let's say y'all are upset at each other. Y'all started the spiritual shit on some spiritual right? So for the most part, y'all got still a goal at hand. So I might be mad at you. You might be mad at me. That don't stop you from opening the emails for our business. You know what I'm saying? Now, see, now if we in a relationship where we started on a shadow government concept, romance, right? I already got my thing going. You got your thing going. It's an insecurity there of us trying to blend it in. It's an insecurity there of you wondering who I'm mixing with in my stuff and who you mixing with. And I'm insecure who you mixing with your stuff, even if I'm acting not like it. But that plays a role because we're not into it in the same way. So the moment we get mad at each other, we got people to run to where there's things that we're not involved with each other in at the end of the day. So that could build as a springboard to accumulate as distance. You know what I'm saying? Between both parties and stuff like that. Where if you started it as a spiritual ship, we'd get mad, but we still investing in things together. So we can't allow our frustration to prevent business stopping. We can't allow our frustration to stop the bills from getting paid. We can't allow our frustration to stop what we have created for the world to go down the drain. So that makes a relationship more stronger. So at some point, we know that we have to laugh and get over something anyway. So our frustrating interactions will be a lot more better than someone who's in it for the shadow government concepts of it, romance. A relationship that's not built on a spiritual shit. And then therefore, when you into circumstances like that, you're able to stick together a lot longer and stuff like that to death due to each part without so much insecurities there. Because you know, the average relationship, when one person get mad at another, they got to start thinking about other stuff. Oh, is this person going to cheat and stuff like that? When the spiritual ship get mad at each other and one person leave, That be less on a percentage scale that, oh, this person about to go talk. The most you gonna think is just that. But you gonna know it's not that, because you gonna know this person is still thinking something that y'all got a common interest with, even when y'all separating, and this person just leaving, got up and left or something like that. You know, like, I know this person gonna come back because I know this person know I'm opening their inboxes and stuff, or vice versa. I know this person just going to take a breather or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be more of that in it first before the other stuff to make both of y'all built this weird insecurity between both of y'all, that both of y'all is going to be hard to sleep in the same bed after a while. Even when it ain't nothing going on. Y'all mind going to be going on. Both of y'all minds going to be running 1,000 miles per hour. And that's enough right there to make it be a divorce at the end, or to be a separation at the end. So you got to peep game when it comes into relationships, spiritual ships, and all this gender war stuff that's going on out here right now. Like, always invest yourself in someone that's into the same thing, because at this point, you're not investing in yourself anymore. By default, you is, but you ain't. You invested in your mirror. Both of y'all invested into the same thing. So you got help in investing in yourself. Always get in that type of situation. Anytime you in a relationship, married, or even networking with family and friends, and you don't feel that necessarily help, y'all don't got the same interests and goals, even if it appear to be. Sometimes you could create a gift and talent and it look like it got potential to go somewhere. You will have people just cling on. Whole bunch of grease balls just clinging on. Free Max Big Avail. But you know what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of grease balls clinging on. And you would think y'all got a common interest, but it's just people playing a role with their own interests. And God will show you how I was just explaining it. Along that stream of consciousness, train of thought, line of reasoning, you'll be seeing along the way, if you're sensitive to the senses, a spiritual sensei, you will see past what they're helping with and see the other interests they got that's not in common with yours. And you know, if you allow it to go all the way to your goal, your destination, and you bring them with you, you know that you will create an enemy. You will allow someone to take you out of your position. And you allowed it. And just the very same thing you would do to others, you get the same amount of negative energy back as much as you allow somebody to do something to you. Give your esoteric currency away and give them some esoteric allowance, aka in the fourth and sixth dimension, for it to play out in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. You allowed somebody to play you as a fool. And you've been seeing they moves the whole way. You just ain't speak up. You just ain't show them what you was aware of. Rather with body language. Sometimes silence and distance and ghosting speak louder than words. That could be the best action ever shown. Not an action at all. Ghosting a mother trucker. Sometimes that's the best action you could ever show. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. Sometimes the best action you could do is not an action at all. Sometimes the best thing you could say is not a thing at all. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. That's a thing. That's a thing itself. Now, getting back into the energies. Pardon me, y'all. Now, last but not least, in the 5th house, the 10th house. You want to place it in the 5th house anytime your 4th house is not experiencing flourishing when it comes to creating a home or to obtaining privacy and things of that nature. Sometimes you have to place it in the 10th house. Do it for career and business purposes. Sometimes you got to make your home a business. This is why you can't make a home. You might be homeless at the moment and crying that you homeless and can't have nobody to stay with. Make that out of a home and make a business out of it. There's dudes like Ted Bundy. Is that his name? No, that might be the name. That dude off Family and Friends. Well, I forgot what the Family and Children. The actual reality, The Simpsons. But it's a dude named Ted. I forgot. But he was up under a bridge, homeless, and he was just having a sign out with people who was coming off the freeway, and he had like the golden voice. They call him the golden voice. And for the most part, he became rich. He had married with children. I always thought that was leave it alone. Don't make no movie. Don't make no movie, Mason. Don't make no Jews. Don't bring that back. Leave the 90s alone. Leave the 90s alone. God damn it. Y'all pitiful how y'all direct movies and shows now, and cartoons and anime. Somebody said Zac Efron. It might be Al Bundy. Oh, that's his name. That might be his name, Zach. And he became a professional reporter or an announcer. He became an announcer like the wrestler dude and stuff like that, right? And he got a lot of money. Yeah, okay. Yeah, shout out to Dana. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Yeah, homeboy, right? So his home was under the bridge, but he had a different mind state that took him right out of the other people that was up under the bridge with him, because he had friend bums too. You know what I'm saying? He had bum friends too, but he ain't broke no more. They still is. He got to help them out. Look out for them. So he had a different thought, but he was in the same situation. But he ain't look at the situation the same way they allowed the external situation to influence their mind, and therefore his mind took him right out of the situation that he was in with them. Pardon me. So sometimes you got to make something out of yourself, or make something out of your home, make a business, make a status, get known for something, and where you at could change. You could bring the world to you. Now, for the most part, fifth house. This light gave me a damn headache. All right, there we go. Fifth house, making things happen when it comes to your creativity or way of expressing yourself. First house, fourth house, seventh house, and ninth house, right? Because the sun is exalted in the first house. You know what I'm saying? The fifth house has a relationship with the fourth house, but I really meant to put the 11th house here. So for the most part, with the fifth house, first house, seventh house, 11th house, and the first house, 11th house, seventh house, and the the sun is debilitated. It's debilitated in the seventh. The seventh. It rules the. It's exalted in the first house. It falls in the seventh house. It rules the fifth house, and is debilitated in the 11th house. And it falls in the seventh house. But it rules the fifth house. Okay, so we're dealing with the first house, seventh house. So let me change this, because I got the fourth house on here. Let me change this. First house, seventh house, 11th house, all right, so that's better. Yeah, so the fifth house, the first house, seventh house, 11th house. All right, boom, that's cool. Then we're gonna keep the fourth house. So when it comes to making things happen, when it comes to your creative way of expression, right? Now, a lot of times you might not be personally investing in something, right? You not be personally expressing yourself enough. Yeah, you got a lot of things that you give entertainment to, but you haven't personally expressed it. Yeah, we don't know you creative. We don't know what you entertain. We don't know what you into. So you got to jump into personally expressing yourself to a certain degree. So keep that in mind also. Now, fourth house, right? You got to gain more comfortable. You got to gain more comfortability in some way, shape, or form. You got to gain more genuine connections. You don't have enough genuine connections in some way, shape, or form. So this is why things is not happening when it comes to your expression or your creativity, right? You don't feel comfortable with expressing yourself. You haven't had that microphone in the mirror enough. You know what I'm saying? We're having that privacy. You need that privacy in the fourth house to, gain some creativity, set the stage for yourself, jump on the couch and this motherfucker shit. Had that little microphone. It's getting kind of hot. Leave that coffee alone. You know what I'm saying? Had a little crash of coffee. You could crash from coffee. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. But for the most part, you want to make sure that you're in a situation where you have a little bit of privacy that you could conduct and feel good about yourself, then start to express it. Because a lot of times when you don't do that enough, you don't develop enough courage to even express it to other individuals. Because you're too busy in that mentality of thinking, oh, another person gonna look at this like it ain't creative. Person gonna look at me like I'm funny or something like that, or I don't know what I'm doing. And so you got to be careful of that. Develop that enough courage with yourself so you can feel good enough expressing it to other individuals, so you can see if it's creative enough. Now, seventh house. For relationship and networking purposes, right? You're not networking enough. That's why your creative gifts or your way of expressing yourself is not relatable or manifesting. And then we got the 11th house and then that's for associating purposes, or let me see what's the 11th house. So I had to change that one. For associating purposes. So you're not associating yourself. You're not auditioning enough. You're not presenting yourself enough amongst others. Ooh, shit. Yeah, let me go get something cold, something to drink real quick, y'all. Hold on for a second. But yeah, you're not putting yourself into a circumstance where you're not auditioning enough. You're not associating yourself with others or making yourself part of the program enough. That's better. Whew, I needed that little walk too. So I had to stretch my little fingers. It's my thing getting tight. Whew. Whew. All right, let me breathe for a second, y'all. Whew. Starting to get a cramp in my neck, in my upper back. All right, so yeah, so that's the 5th house. All right, so if I'm stretching weird, y'all, don't mind me. So I just gotta stretch out. I'm trying to move these gases around, move these hormones around. Ooh. All right. Ouch. Whew. All right, that's what I need. I'm ready. Whew. All right, so yeah, so you want to make sure you put it in the 11th house for association purposes, because a lot of times you're not associating yourself with the right circumstances, and then you wonder why you're not manifesting. Now, 6th house, right? Making things happen when it comes into your work, health, and your routines. Now, the reason why you don't got things on schedule or don't seem like things being consistent and working, you're gonna be utilizing the 3rd, 9th, and the 12th house. Ooh, shit. Now, the 3rd house, for learning and sharing ideas purposes. So a lot of times the reason why things don't work when it comes to health routines and practices and stuff like that, because you're not obtaining enough information. You're not talking to enough people. You're not receiving or learning enough, right? Or you're not sharing your ideas so you could get help, or sharing your ideas enough to lead you into obtaining enough information so you can know what to go about and start to become consistent in. All right, 9th house, right? For expanding and experiencing purposes. Another reason why you don't things is not happening when it comes to work, health, or routines and stuff like that. You may not be exercising. You may not be experiencing. You may not be going out trying to get a job. You may be doing things that's not working. 10th house, right? For career and business purposes. Another reason why things may not be working when it comes into your work, health, or routines, or you're experiencing blockages. You need to put it in the 10th house, right? A lot of times you're not trying to be known for anything. So there's nothing worth being consistent about. So you're just settling for like weak jobs and stuff like that for the meantime until you find a person or find a purpose or a person or a career or a gift or a talent. 12th house, right? For faith and belief purposes. A lot of times you don't put a lot of faith, belief, and imagination into the things that you're working on. So you don't see it through. You don't practice enough consistency. So a lot of times that's why things not happening when it comes to work, health, routines. You don't put enough faith, belief in something long enough for like 3, 6, to 9 months periods of times. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shit, I gotta stop that shit. Hold on, y'all put this in the trash. Ooh, shit. I'm recharging. I'm recharging. Now the 7th house. Making things happen when it comes to your relationship status or way of relating and networking. So a lot of times why things may not be working when it comes to your relationships, your networking, your way of relating, like you may be coming across as negative to individuals, like you might be trying to relate and you might get a weird sense of non-connection in some way, shape, or form, right? You're going to have to utilize the 1st, 2nd, and the 8th and the 12th house. Venus is debilitated in the 1st and the 8th house. It rules the 2nd house and it's exalted in the 12th house. I could have put the 6th house here too because it's debilitated in the 6th house also. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, now, when it comes into Venus, right? Now, and then Venus falls in in the 6th house, Virgo. So not debilitated, but it falls. Now, the 1st house, personal purpose, for personal purposes. Now, a lot of reason why you ain't making things happen when it comes to your relationships and things of that nature, because you ain't got no personal purpose. So it's hard for you to obtain somebody to be on your side and things of that nature. So it's important for you to be the divine masculine or divine feminine and have a sense of goal, a sense of purpose, a personal purpose about yourself. Then you're going to meet somebody who's on the same path or a similar path, and then you can actually have somebody to support because you're basically supporting the mirror. You're supporting yourself because y'all got the same interests. Thank you so much for the donation, Empress Flows. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Real stuff. Real stuff. 2nd house, right? Now you're going to utilize this for your values and security purposes. So the reason why things not happening when it comes to your relationship and networking and things of that nature, because you don't have a sense of security, right? And you make people feel unsecure around you or insecure, aka they don't feel like the relationship is stable, or you make them feel like it won't be stable participating with you. So keep that in mind too. 8th house, for motivational purposes. You're not sharing no deep connection with individuals, or you're not motivated about nothing. So it's hard for people to look at you, to participate with you, to be in a relationship with you, or relate or network with you, because you don't look like you have a passion or motivated about nothing. So you'll look like you'll waste somebody's time in their eyes. 12th house, right? For faith and belief purposes. The reason why things may not be happening with your relationships or networking or way of relating, because you might not got no faith or belief or spiritual system or no purpose to anything, right? So a lot of times you make a person feel like there's no purpose of relating to you, right? There's nothing to connect with you. Now, 8th house. This is going to be making things happen when it comes into your deep desires, passions, and intentions, right? And this can become your goals. So the extreme Mars energy and Pluto energy, right? Now, this is going to be correlated to the 1st, 4th, 7th, and the 10th house. So a lot of times the reason why things may not be happening when it comes to your deep desires, passions, and intentions is because you don't have no personal purpose. So a lot of times when it comes to your deep desires and things of that nature, if you lack personal purpose, right, you have to put it in the 1st house. When you ain't got no personal purpose, that means, pardon me, you're not utilizing it and putting it into the 1st house. So a lot of times your 8th house just becomes a deep desire or passion for sex, a deep desire or passion for things to suit you on monetary gain. So it might be just stress eating or binge watching. But when you develop a personal purpose and things of that nature, then you'll start to see things happening when it comes to your deep desires, passion, and intentions, because it'll be filtered towards a personal purpose or personal interest with good intention. 4th house, a genuine connection and things of that nature, for genuine connection purposes. A lot of times the reason why your deep desires, passions, and motivations is not manifesting is because you don't got no deep connection. So a lot of times you feel it's not a necessary need to go full force with your passions because you don't got nobody there to do it with you or support with you, or no deep connection with something to be passionately forced to do something inside you to make you feel like it's important enough. So keep that in mind too. Motherfucking okay, yeah, another place. Yeah, for 8th house. 7th house, for relationship and networking purposes. Another reason why your deep desires, passions, and intentions is not working because you're not relating to. I already said that because you're not in a relationship with another individual, or you're not relating, or you're not networking properly on a deep level. Ooh. Now loosen up my shoulder blades. Looks like I got a tight muscle or gas or something right between my shoulder blades. Right below my neck. Ooh. Hey. Whew. So, 8th house and 10th house for career and business purposes, right? You don't got no deep desire. You're not known for nothing, so people don't see you being known for something to be that you have a deep desire behind. So you got to know how to put your 8th house in a 10th house, right? Learn how to make that your status. Learn how to make a deep desire or a passion or a motivation what you're known for, how you're seen. What ultimately can become your business or your career. 9th house. Now, the 9th house is making things happen when it comes to your traveling abilities, morality, or new things you want to experience. Oh, man. Woo. Whew. I needed that. Whew. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. 9th house. So for the most part, making things happen when it comes to your traveling abilities, morality, or new things you want to experience. It's going to be the 4th, 3rd, 10th, and the 12th house. Now, 4th house for genuine connections and things. The reason why things is not happening when it comes to traveling abilities, internally or externally. Now remember, traveling internally just means having a far out thought. You know what I'm saying? Thinking more broadly, not being stuck and confined in a cage into a morality or a way that people try to make you think and stuff like that based upon what they expect from you and shit stuff like that. Right? Now, when you're able to think freely, that means you're around other people that's not giving you no weird expectations on having you think like them, like because you grew up around some family morals or something like that. So, or it could mean actually traveling. So the reason why you might need to throw the 9th house into the 4th house is because Jupiter is exalted here too. You know what I'm saying? And Jupiter falls into the 10th house, and Jupiter debilitated in the 3rd house and the 6th house, and it rules the 12th house. Thank you so much for the donation, Cian. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for the donation, Ivan B. You said it's your flight day. Go. It's your flight day. Real stuff. All right. Where we at? 9th house. So 4th house for genuine connections. 3rd house for learning and sharing ideas purposes. 10th house for career and business purposes, and 12th house for faith and belief purposes. The reason why things may not be happening in your when it comes to traveling because you ain't got enough genuine connections, 4th house, or you're not sharing ideas and communicating the right way to go about something. You ain't got a GPS system, 3rd house, or 10th house. You ain't got a status, or you ain't got nothing that's worth for you somebody making you travel for. And in the first place. Or 12th house, you ain't got no faith, belief, and imagination and nothing for you to put meaning to force you to travel for nothing. Now, 10th house, making things happen when it comes into your career, business, and status. Man, it's the only thing I got a cramp. That's the only thing. I just got a cramp right here. It just moved into my shoulder. That means it's moving. I just got to move around a little bit more. It moved from the middle of the shoulder blade, and now it's in my left shoulder. As soon as it moves a little bit, I'll be straight. Damn. Fuck. I mean, mutt. My bad, y'all. Let me roll this. Do this real quick. So, 10th house. Whew. So 1st, 4th, 7th, and 11th, right? Personal purposes. You don't got no personal purpose to be known for anything. So you be just trying to be like a follower. You're going to be guilty by association after a while. 4th house. You ain't got no genuine connection. So for the most part, this is why you're in a circumstance of your status not flourishing. Man, why this ain't cutting on? That's why you're in a circumstance of not manifesting. Seventh house, relationship and networking purposes. That's why, oh, my bad. Yeah, 7th house, I'm right. So when it comes to your status, what you're known for, how you're seen, that's why that don't work. Because for the most part, you're not networking enough. You're not networking enough. And then you got 10th house for career and business. 11th house. You need to associate yourself with the right circumstances. 11th house, right? There's going to be making things happen when it comes into your associations, things you're associated with in public persona. 1st house, 4th house, 7th house, and 10th house, right? Now, 1st house for personal purposes. The reason why things is not happening when it comes to your association and stuff like that, because you probably got negative agendas. So you need to check your personal purpose. 4th house, genuine connections. You're just being guilty by association and mixing with the wrong crowd. You need more genuine connections. 7th house, for relationship and networking purposes, right? You might have the wrong connects. So you might need to associate yourself with the right connects. 10th house, for career business purposes. You might need to associate with things that's more practical and productive. Stop associating with people who just want to rob banks. Now, 11th house. 12th house. Ooh, what the fuck I'm doing? Damn, what the fuck I'm doing? I'm tripping. Making things happen when it comes into your dreams, imagination, and things you put faith and belief in. Now, for the most part, this is going to be the 4th, 6th, 9th, and the 10th house. Fourth house, for genuine connection purposes. The reason why things is not happening when it comes to your dreams and imagination and your fantasies is because you ain't got no genuine connections. You ain't got people around you speaking life, speaking good stuff, good nature in the environment. You only got people who speak doubt in the room and stuff like that. So you got to be careful of that too. The 6th house, for consistency purposes. You're not consistent enough on your dreams. So another person can't see the potential in it. So you got to keep that in mind too. 9th house, for expanding and experiencing purposes. You're not expressing your dreams enough and learning the meanings and reasons behind it and expressing it. So even if it is flunked out, people can understand the meaning why you went to it like that. A cinnamon stick. That's a cinnamon Twizzler stick, YouTube. And then 10th house. With the 10th house, for career and business purposes. The reason why things not happening with your dreams and imaginations and things of that nature, because it don't look like it can make no money. It don't look like it could be a career. It don't look like it could be a status or anything. It's not known for anything but straitjacket energy. Thank you so much for the donation, Dreamer Terra Water Garden. You said you have a heating pad cramps. Yeah, I got one. Oh shit! All right, that's all I needed. All right, yeah, I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Real shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, real stuff. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.